Which really makes you think about his final moments, literally being held captive in that small car seat. Investigators today getting down to the bottom of what happened to little Cooper in the hot car death case against his father, Justin Ross Harris. Joining us now via Skype, Jacksonville State University forensic professor. You know who he is, Joseph Scott Morgan. Joseph, always good to talk to you. As the details come out, it's getting more and more horrific here. The Cobb County DA's office recreated the crime scene yesterday in the Home Depot parking lot. Do you think they're trying to recreate the timeline to better present their case?
Susan, I have to say, the police are no different than the general public. They're trying to get a grasp of what actually happened. And to be able to go out physically to a crime scene where you have the vehicle in question and to be able to recreate these things puts things in a different perspective. Not only can they use these tools to go back and do further investigation in the present, but in the future these tools are going to be used down the line when the prosecution takes place.
And this is a Fox 5 exclusive from here in Atlanta. Let's go through some of the shots, Joseph, and you could tell us what's going on here. First, a guy is holding up some type of sensor outside. Does that have to do with the temperature outside and maybe inside the car, and they're trying to get the time of death for the little boy?
Yeah, you can see this gentleman is probably an investigator. He's walking around with a temperature gauge or a thermometer, and this is a digital thermometer where what they are trying to assess is outdoor environmental ambient temperature. And you see that he has a gauge in his hand. You can see he's bathed in sunlight. They're trying to recreate the same environment in which little Cooper was left behind in this car. They want to be able to be directly impacted by the sun, just like that car is being impacted by the sun, to get an idea of what the outdoor temperature is. And they'll do several of these readings throughout the day. You can't just do one. These things are going to be done incrementally. When you go back out to measure temperature, you do this generally in increments, say, of 15 to 20 minutes.
And I want to also show you this because there's a guy there at the scene. There were several people kind of doing what they needed to do to build this story, to tell the story for the state. This is a guy looking at a monitor here. And do you think they're trying to establish when that boy died? Because we now learned that the father went back to that car around 12:30 after he bought light bulbs. The prosecution seems to think it's to see if his job was done. The defense is saying no, he just put the light bulbs in his car and moved on. Are they trying to tell a story? And what is this guy doing specifically?
Yes, Susan, this is what they're trying to do. Just like we experience day to day, everybody can identify with the heat increasing as the day goes on. What they're trying to do is to recreate similar circumstances relative to that particular day in which Cooper passed away in this horrible, horrible manner. So they'll check the peak as it goes through the day, how it increases and decreases throughout the day.
And Joseph, I want to show you this, the wires going through the car. This is a sophisticated reenactment here in the car that allegedly he murdered his son in. What are they doing there?
Yeah, well, what they want to do is not only measure the temperature outside of the car, but see how that environmental temperature on the outside impacts the interior temperature, this ambient environment in which Cooper would have been strapped down in. So this is going to be a measurable number throughout the day. And you can see that this temperature will rise and rise and rise just as the sun gets higher and higher in the air. And this gives us a real insight into what kind of suffering Cooper would have gone through in this environment, just absolutely sweltering.
Yeah, it's horrible to think about. Always good to talk to you, Joseph Scott Morgan. Thanks so much for lending your expertise.